It's been a whirlwind time as a Godzilla fan, with more media hitting us in the last 90 days of 2023 and into 2024 than we've ever seen in Godzilla's entire 70-year history. We may never have a moment with this much happening ever again. 2023 delivered an awesome Godzilla day. -1 was released and blew the world away, and has now won the Oscar for Best Visual Effects, an incredible achievement for the franchise. And it was delivered by Arnold Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito, something I never knew I needed in my life.
Godzilla!
Monarch: Legacy of Monsters had a strong start and an incredible and emotional finale. And now, Godzilla Kong: The New Empire's marketing campaign has been unleashed in full force, with that movie's release just days away at the time of uploading this video. It's a moment worth celebrating in this big guy's long-running franchise. There have been discussions within the fanbase and among general audiences and on YouTube that has often had me raising an eyebrow in confusion. Today we delve into the important and extremely serious question: is Godzilla allowed to be silly, or can he only work when the film depicts the character with a serious, grounded tone? All while examining the current fanbase along the way. Just like Batman's campy capers and James Bond's goofy gadgets, Godzilla has had its share of light-hearted adventures. Take, for instance, probably the easiest example, Godzilla vs. Megalon, where the king of the monsters teams up with Jet Jaguar to take on Megalon and Gigan in a spectacle of pure camp and unadulterated fun. Silly? Absolutely, but these whimsical moments bring a unique charm, proving that even the mightiest monsters can have a sense of humor. Movies like this were the entry point to so many fans in the late 70s, 80s, and early 90s. All of the Showa Godzilla movies had been released around the world years prior, but they were not widely available to view in a home setting for many years. But if it weren't for Godzilla vs. Megalon, the franchise may not be as widely known as it is today. The character became more popular after it was broadcast to families across America and the United States in March of 1977. That silly tone is how many people viewed Godzilla for many years, and probably some still view him that way. The first Godzilla VHSs only started appearing around 1983, a time when TV reruns or theater showings were the only way to revisit these iconic movies. Obtaining access to Godzilla films wasn't easy until the early 2000s and beyond. Even today in some countries, securing physical media remains a challenge without really breaking the bank. But now we have more access to Godzilla media across multiple formats, platforms, and mediums. Let's shift gears to the somber tones that have elevated Godzilla to cinematic greatness. Enter Shin Godzilla, a movie that really digs into societal issues in Japan, where Godzilla isn't just a monster, but a walking catastrophe that reflects mankind's struggles as they fight to find a solution to stop the beast. The gravity of these serious narratives elevates Godzilla beyond mere creature feature, establishing a profound connection with general audiences. Godzilla's origins trace back to post-World War II Japan, where the monster first emerged as a symbolic representation of the devastating power of nuclear weapons. As witnessed in films like Shin Godzilla, the creature's destructive force mirrors real-world catastrophes, serving as a poignant reminder of the potential consequences of a government who fails to move in times of crisis, leaving the civilians to suffer. And recently with Godzilla -1 covering post-war PTSD, how war is horrible, and to rebuild after loss with the choice to live, and that the government does not care for its people. Yet, Godzilla is not merely a harbinger of doom. He becomes a manifestation of the Earth's inherent stability, a force of nature that can be switched between wrathful titan and a guardian ensuring balance. There is a different Godzilla for everyone. To illustrate the power of tone diversity, let's turn to Batman: The Dark Knight of Gotham. From the campy charm of the 1960s series and movie to the gritty realism of Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight trilogy or Matt Reeves' The Batman, the character has embraced both ends of the tonal spectrum. The colorful and dark coexist, showcasing the versatility that keeps Batman eternally captivating. But the world of Batman is not confined to the live-action realm alone. We can look at the animated iterations of The Dark Knight, where the character's adventures have thrived in yet another visual medium. From the atmospheric noir of Batman the Animated Series to the delightful escapades of Batman Brave and the Bold, or even recently with Merry Little Batman, the animated world of Batman spans the entire tonal spectrum. But even the series known for the more serious and dark tones can get a little silly if the story needs it to. In Gotham's animated streets, we witness the juxtaposition of heart-wrenching narratives with moments of lighthearted banter, proving that even in animated form, Batman's versatility knows no bounds. But in both cases, it should be acknowledged that audiences don't always enjoy the turn to camp. Take the Burton to Schumacher transition. Films like Batman Forever and Batman and Robin were not as well received as the darker Burton films because of the tonal shift at almost a breakneck speed. When viewed next to the Nolan and Reeves films, even the Burton films look quite campy though. At one point, they were seen as the serious Batman movies after the world had grown accustomed to the Adam West interpretation. You could even say that Batman and Robin is an homage to the older Adam West style of camp. I can't help but point out even the serious Nolan trilogy has aged poorly in some spots that may be even seen as silly or campy now. The Batman voice and Bane's voice are the easiest to acknowledge, but there is an audience for both tones. During my late teens and early 20s, I exclusively preferred a more serious portrayal of Batman. However, with age, I found myself revisiting the lighter, more whimsical side of the character while maintaining a deep appreciation for the love of the Batman universe and so on with the Nolan films. Though I may not resonate with the Snyderverse Batman or what The Flash did with the character, these interpretations haven't dampened my love for the character though either. A couple of less appealing entries or a series that didn't quite resonate with me hasn't had a detrimental impact on my enduring affection for Batman. Were you aware there were plans for a Batman vs. Godzilla movie back in the day? It was intended to be a sequel to the 1966 Batman movie and series, and the 1962 King Kong vs. Godzilla film, featuring Adam West facing off against the King of the Monsters. I'm considering making a video about this amazing canceled project, and I'd love to know if it's something you'd be interested in. It would have been one of my favorite Godzilla movies right off the bat because I have a huge love for Godzilla and Batman was actually my first word, so automatic. From the world's greatest detective to the world's most famous secret agent, James Bond, the suave spy with a license to thrill, has also danced between tones. The Roger Moore era brought us a playful and flamboyant Bond, while the Daniel Craig era offered a more of a brooding, intense betrayal. Both styles have left an indelible mark on the franchise, proving that Bond's allure lies in his ability to adapt to the changing cinematic landscapes. Like Batman, there was a point where everyone wanted a serious Bond, and that spawned the Pierce Brosnan version of the character with GoldenEye in the 90s. The films that followed quickly rose in camp, but even GoldenEye had its silly moments along with the serious. And yet again, Bond reinvents himself with Daniel Craig in Casino Royale and Onward, a more interconnected series of films known for their gritty, darker, more serious tones. But with villains like Silva in Skyfall, there may be some moments that after some time has passed look a little silly, but it works because it's in line with what the franchise has delivered before. Eccentric and crazy villains are a staple for the Bond films, and if Silva just had been another guy, he wouldn't have been as memorable and the movie probably wouldn't be as good. Bond can execute both campy and serious, and his movies definitely should. Let's blast away from Bond and into the Monsterverse. While some may have cherished the serious tone of the 2014 Godzilla film, it's crucial to recognize that the Monsterverse exhibited early signs of embracing the fantastical and silly in Kong Skull Island. The Monsterverse didn't shy away from the unreal, immediately introducing a dash of camp and silliness. Everything here is so unserious and extremely campy. The dramatic look at the camera is so cheesy, but I love it. Fast forward to today, with Godzilla Kong the New Empire, and the elements of craziness and silliness seem to be elevated even higher, especially with this shot that seemed to cause quite a bit of an uproar. Some might find it surprising, but the injection of a fantastical tone in the Monsterverse aligns with its ever-evolving nature. However, those yearning for a more grounded and serious tone that was delivered like in 2014 were given a taste of that again recently. Monarch: Legacy of Monsters, which recently aired its first season on Apple TV, is a series that weekly revisited the tone reminiscent of the 2014 Godzilla film, while building upon the universe that the Monsterverse has created over the last 4 films, even connecting and tying up loose threads between the movies, making it an even more cohesive series of films. But even Legacy of Monsters found a way to tap into the fantastical, especially with its final few episodes. The world of the dimension-bending portals and land between with the Axis Mundi, the Titans used to get around between the surface world and the Hollow Earth. While that part of the show was way more out of this world, the human character and drama brought it to a level of greatness. I don't know about any of you, but that finale had me constantly sobbing in moments between the characters. But so did this too. What the Monsterverse needs, and it's been said time and time again, is good human characters. Great human characters elevate the exciting monster brawls. We care what happens to them, and hope they don't get hurt or something bad happens to them. Monarch did a great job of creating compelling characters, for the most part. While not all were standouts, the characters that did had me more excited to come back each and every week, along with the possible chance of seeing more new Godzilla, because more new Godzilla is always an exciting thing. The desire to return to the serious tone of 2014 is understandable, but it's essential to recognize that the Godzilla franchise has been diverse in its tones from its inception. As early as the third entry in the 70-year-old franchise, with King Kong vs. Godzilla, campy moments became ingrained into Godzilla's cinematic DNA. The beauty of the franchise lies in its ability to balance the serious with the fantastical, offering fans a dynamic and ever-evolving cinematic experience. Godzilla fans often call out the Heisei era of films as the most serious, but in reality, ever since Biollante, we saw some silly moments of dialogue.
Kiss you guys.
Got him! Take that, you dinosaur.
The time has come, finally, to put our technology to the final test.
Or even campy moments in the battles. You can take that jacket off. You can do it. There you go. Okay, good job, bud. Look at him go. I love M11. This right here doesn't look very serious to me. As we delve deeper into the Monsterverse and its ever-expanding canvas, it's only fair to acknowledge that even personally I have some reservations. The technological leaps between the films and the early introduction of the formidable adversaries like Ghidorah might feel like the franchise has moved at breakneck speed. And perhaps Ghidorah, the destructive three-headed titan, should have been saved for a later threat, allowing a gradual build-up and tension towards the character. The technical landscapes have evolved rapidly, raising questions about the narrative timeline. Monarch has done a pretty good job of filling in those gaps a bit. But before that show existed, it was a little up in the air for me at times. I too love the tone of 2014. I think, though, if we stuck to one constant tone, it probably would get old pretty quickly. I personally find King of the Monsters to be my favorite entry in the Monsterverse, and I feel like the tone is right in the middle of the serious, fantastical, but with a little bit of camp in there too. Just a little bit better characters would have maybe made that film a heck of a lot better. I understand why folks don't like it as much. But we have had great characters in the Monsterverse as well. Many so far. However, amid the critiques, there's an undeniable appreciation for what the Monsterverse has offered. The dynamic and visually stunning clashes between Godzilla, Kong, and their adversaries have provided fans with an exhilarating cinematic experience. Sometimes it's essential to step back and recognize the sheer spectacle of that these films deliver, even if the pacing might feel like a whirlwind at times. One thing I feel like most are leaving out in their critiques and reviews are that the monsters are characters too. Their names are in the titles and we pay to see them. The Monsterverse representations of these characters have been stellar, with each entry adding more and more personality to each of the titans. It's said we're going to get the most amount of monster screen time in Godzilla Kong than we've ever had in any of the previous entries, and that sounds insanely cool to me. That's something that many have been asking for in professional critiques and fan critiques with every entry. Every review says they just want to see more monsters doing their thing, and it sounds like we're finally getting it. I know that if I could go back in time and show my 1998 self a tiny sample of the Monsterverse, I don't think he would believe that this was going to be coming. As a fan since 1988, I know what it's like when there is no new Godzilla content, or what it was like to even try to find new Godzilla media back in the day. We have been eating so good as Godzilla fans today. I don't want to sound like a boomer, but the younger generation of fans probably doesn't understand the appreciation some of us have for the franchise because of these times of drought we experienced, where media, toys, and content were scarce, very long periods of nothing new. Consider personally, in your own life, experiencing a decade, 10 years or more, of no new Godzilla content. Maybe very little, no movies, no nothing, only for it to finally make a comeback. Fans who weathered these dark times tend to be more appreciative of the accessibility we enjoy today and are consequently less critical, especially concerning the aspects of CGI. There's a difference between blindly accepting everything and appreciating what we have. For many, the franchise serves as a source of escapism. All this accessibility to so much media is incredible. And that is why right now, in a time where we are getting more new content than ever, is a time worth calling this the best point in Godzilla's history. The individuals who express the loudest and sometimes most harsh opinions on these matters often appear incapable of receiving criticism themselves. Their tendency to exaggerate reactions, labeling others as seething or freaking out is accompanied by an evident insecurity. Interestingly enough, when questioned about their own complaints, they often react defensively, displaying anger rather than engaging in constructive dialogue. Usually, it comes from the younger audiences who hadn't experienced those dark times of Godzilla media drought. Mature adults typically refrain from using such mean and derogatory language. This unproductive behavior fails to contribute any meaningful discussions and understanding within the fan community. I know what it's like to be a younger fan who wanted the best for the franchise. I was there at one point in my life, and I still am, but I promise you, we don't have to talk to each other like we're villains and we're enemies, or like someone violently kicked a door at right in front of you. I even find these echoes come from the fans who are the harshest about SH monster arts, but that's a video for another day, another discussion, and let me know if you want to hear about that.
And obviously, just to clarify, this is just a blanket statement. I'm not saying every single one of you younger fans is this way. I'm just saying that we see a lot of it coming from the younger generation. We do see often a lot coming from the adults too, and they are acting just as childish too. We need more maturity in this fan base.
There's an irony to criticizing a Godzilla movie for its CGI when considering the franchise has often been looked down upon with the tokusatsu filmmaking as an inferior product to Hollywood. When fans of tokusatsu think otherwise and have a deeper understanding and appreciation for the art and craft of that style of filmmaking. We are well aware of the incredibly hard work that the crews put into those movies, just for our entertainment. Now we have this incredible CGI, often photoreal at times, being ripped apart because it looks bad, with no actual criticism as to how or why it looks bad. When asking folks about the specific shot on Twitter, I couldn't get an answer that I found valid. Most arguments that came through fell apart quickly for multiple reasons, and it feels like those critiquing the CGI so heavily have no clue of what they're actually talking about. None of this is to say it's above criticism, but saying it looks bad. This photo came up and everyone was complaining, and all I can think about was that scene in The Office where HR wants you to point out the difference between these two photos, and they're the same. I even think 2014 has some what people would consider dodgy effects. I can't see the difference between what people are pointing out and this shot, but it doesn't take me out of the movie. It kind of reminds me of the Incredibles teacher who had to slow down the tape to find him like going real fast, but couldn't really prove it, and everybody looked at him like he was crazy.
You see? Oh, you don't see it?
It's always going to be obvious at CGI when it's a giant Godzilla-sized monster on the screen. Many will argue that -1 had better CGI with a lower budget, and some scenes definitely had some of the most photoreal CGI that I've ever seen. I'm beyond happy that the -1 team won the Oscar. It is one of the biggest and best things that could probably ever happen to this franchise right now. I can only imagine at this very moment, Toho is hard at work brainstorming about what is coming next into the Godzilla franchise. Congratulations to Takashi Yamazaki, the Godzilla -1 team, and Japan for this incredible achievement. But there's a huge difference between -1 and the Monsterverse. It's Takashi Yamazaki, who is both a director and a visual effects director. Much like Gareth Edwards, they both know how to direct a special effects movie better than most do. They really know how to work with a small budget. They are experts in their craft and can apply their knowledge to a production much differently than someone like Adam Wingard, Jordan Vogt Roberts, or Michael Dougherty execute their productions. And that's not to say these directors can't work with smaller budgets in any way. Each director is a master at their craft with their own individual voices and visions. But that's the beautiful thing about art, is we're all lucky to have these different points of view in the franchises, and that's helped push the visuals of everything forward. And we should have more directors like them come through and bring in more new voices. We don't have to have the same people make them all the time. That's what helps bring a wide variety of tones and ideas to this long-running franchise. However, it's crucial to dispel the notion that the CGI itself is inherently bad, and the real issue lies within the underpayment and overworking of the CGI artists in Hollywood. It is a known issue that the special effects artists who bring these larger-than-life characters to the big screen put so much time and energy into these projects on the shortest of deadlines. Deadlines that I feel like would crush the common complainer. A number of the films in the Godzilla franchise were produced within incredibly tight time frames. Take Godzilla vs. Megalon. That was filmed in approximately 3 weeks. I challenge you to create a movie in such a brief period. Hyper-fixating on CGI issues without considering the challenges faced by these artists is just counterproductive. Focus your critiques on the reason why they may be overworked and underpaid. That might lead to a higher production quality. Nitpicking and focusing on issues that are only visible in slow motion playback or when pausing the film doesn't make for a valid argument. Do you want photorealism? Then go to a classic tokusatsu Godzilla movie. One can look back at those movies that utilize the man-in-the-suit technique, where the real light interacted with a tangible object, a complexity that is really considerably challenging and hard to replicate in CGI. Puppets, men in suits, practical sets are really there, making it often feel more real and tactile. It is essential for Godzilla fans to move beyond the simple declaration of "it looks bad," when instead learn the skill of constructive criticism. This involves appreciating the incredible strides made in special effects and acknowledging the fusion of technology and creativity that defines the Monsterverse films. Back in the 90s, I used to catch serious teasing for my love of the Godzilla movies, and at the same time, Power Rangers was at the height of its popularity, despite arguably having worse special effects. Then comes the cinematic juggernaut known as Jurassic Park, and suddenly everybody is enamored with the groundbreaking visuals. It's amusing to think that those who are excessively critical of the CGI in the Monsterverse films today might have been teased as similarly like I was back in the day. It's like criticizing the CGI in Jurassic Park, which you would probably get kicked in the dirt for. This is bad CGI. Japanese audiences tend to be more forgiving of CGI compared to Western viewers. The cultural difference emphasizes a greater focus on storytelling and thematic elements over scrutinizing visual effects. While Western audiences may have a demand for realism, Japanese viewers prioritize the overall cinematic experience, valuing narrative and emotional impact. The Showa-era Godzilla movies frequently showcase visually stunning sets, reminiscent of styles that might even excite directors such as Wes Anderson and similar creatives today. The captivating set designs added another layer of excellence to these films, proving that there's so much more to appreciate beyond the thrilling monster brawls of these Godzilla movies. Adding to that, it's a common misconception that Godzilla movies are solely made for children, which is far from the truth. While some of these films in the franchise are tailored towards younger audiences, even these more child-friendly entries convey deeper messages or themes within their stories. For example, the original Gojira explores the trauma of nuclear destruction. King Kong vs. Godzilla serves as a comedic parody on consumerism. Mothra vs. Godzilla advocates for respect for nature, emphasizing that it should not be commodified. Godzilla vs. Hedorah delivers a powerful message urging to stop pollution, while Godzilla vs. Space Godzilla says don't pollute space, and Godzilla against Mothra don't pollute the Earth. Godzilla Planet Eater and the anime trilogy explores the themes about technology not being our savior and finding contentment with the present. It's not just toys smashing together. I think Western commentators are missing the nuance from Japanese cinema and storytelling. It's crucial to also remember that the debates surrounding the franchise's direction aren't anything new. In 2004, when Final Wars was released, similar discussions echoed across the fanbase online. Final Wars is a divisive film to this day, but it also has its fans. The movie was meant to be a throwback to the Showa-era films with a modern twist. Who's to say Godzilla Kong can't do something similar with a throwback to the Showa films, but with today's modern twist? The director Adam Wingard has clearly stated that he has a love for the Showa-era films, with how they have such fantastical and wild ideas. And this new entry could be just a modern-day love letter with today's amazing special effects and sound. He says he wants to make what it's like to be in a toy aisle and as a kid from the 80s. I can't deny that just sounds fun to me, and these movies are allowed to just be that. Fun. We don't have to have a serious, depressing entry every single time. Sometimes I watch a Godzilla movie just to have a fun time. Each of us have our own personal tastes, and that's the best thing about being an individual. We don't all have to be the same, because that would be incredibly boring. The beauty of the character of Godzilla lies in its ability to adapt and endure. Younger fans may not recall the debate of 2004, but the echoes of concern were just as loud as they are now. If not for the more diverse approaches taken over the years, Godzilla might not be the enduring icon it is today. Many fans do not realize that Godzilla was not a cool or popular thing to like at one point, not too long ago. As fans, we hold the power to shape the future of the franchise. Constructive criticism fuels the evolution while supporting the movies and ensures a continued legacy. They are listening, especially if their money is not coming in. These movies have been successful though, and money talks. There will always be a new Godzilla to support, with each incarnation offering something new and unique. It's important to remember that Toho holds the reins when it comes to the decision involving Godzilla and other Toho kaiju in the Monsterverse. Each move made by Legendary requires Toho's approval if it's got Godzilla involving it, showcasing the collaborative nature of their partnership. Contrary to some fan skepticism, Toho has expressed serious satisfaction for the Monsterverse's direction. This is speaking from first-hand experiences of working at Bandai, where I witnessed the passion and dedication behind the scenes. It was very clear to me that Toho is extremely pleased with how Legendary is treating their iconic characters right now. Art is inherently subjective, not objective. Your preferences for something is a matter of personal taste, but not an absolute judgment. Some Godzilla YouTubers and online commentators may argue otherwise. The most important opinion is your own. Everyone has a distinct reason for their likes and dislikes. Your life dictates why you like something. My life dictates why I like something. My life experiences do that. Yours do too. You and I have different lives. That's why we like different things. It's not that hard to figure out. However, forming an opinion requires first-hand experience. Currently, there seems to be a surge in online discussions stemming from individuals who may not be as well versed in the Godzilla franchise. The fandom appears to have attracted temporary enthusiasts, or as I like to call them, tourists, driven by financial gains or seeking engagement, posting leaks, lies, misinformation, just to get your clicks and engagement. Resist giving them attention. By interacting with them, you're only amplifying them in the algorithm so that they get shown to more people. Just don't interact. Just hard stop. They will fade out of our existences if we just do not interact with them. Don't like them. Don't hate share them. Screenshot it if you want to talk about it, but that also promotes people to go to it because they want to hear it themselves. Just don't even do that. Just ignore. Maybe tweet that you saw some bad take, but you don't even have to link to it. I promise you, the drama, the discourse, we don't need it at all times. There are a lot of grifters around right now, and they do not care about the franchise, no matter what they say. They are only here for you to pay their bills, and you pay their bills by giving them the views. They have all now come into the picture thinking they know what Godzilla is supposed to and should be. And here's a very important fact. We wouldn't have -1, the one that everybody is praising and saying should be the standard, if it weren't for the Monsterverse. I think people are learning the wrong lessons from -1. Because of the success and hype that is still going for Godzilla -1, I expect that Godzilla hype to run into Godzilla X Kong: The New Empire, and I can see it doing quite well at the box office. I can see and hope that the Monsterverse will continue on a strong path for a long time. As long as audiences continue to run to theaters and buy the Monsterverse toys or Godzilla toys, the future of the franchise will continue to shine bright. Legendary and Warner Brothers are closely monitoring these indicators, particularly the sales numbers, and any decline would cause a close to the Monsterverse. However, the current trend is that there's no such signs. Each installment of the Monsterverse has been a response to fan feedback, illustrating the studio's keen awareness of the audience's sentiments. For instance, the transition from Godzilla 2014 to Kong Skull Island addressed concerns that there was inefficient on-screen monster presence by offering a wide and chaotic display of creatures. Godzilla King of the Monsters then elevated the Titan's prominence and personalities, responding to the prior critiques from before. And then there were complaints about the monsters being obscured by weather in King of the Monsters. Notably, those were addressed with the clear and vibrant daytime and nighttime neon battles in Godzilla vs. Kong. Feedback regarding poorly written human characters spurred the creation of Monarch: Legacy of Monsters on Apple TV+. This responsiveness serves as clear evidence that the studios are attuned to the audience's opinions, demonstrating a commitment to refining the Monsterverse experience based on viewer input. Godzilla, with its wide range of variations, caters to diverse preferences. Each version is valid. Whether it's the controversial Godzilla 1998 or the revered GMK, the significance lies in its personal connections. For someone, Godzilla 98 might be their introduction to the franchise, making it their Godzilla. While it might not be my favorite or yours, similar sentiments apply for me to Godzilla 1999 or Final Wars. I don't like those designs. But I do love the homage to 1999 with the new Godzilla Evolved design. He's got the pink, he's even got the little thin waist. That's something that came from 1999, and I love it. Hell, speaking of 98, I wanted the sequel that was supposed to come, even though I didn't love the movie. Yes, sure, we got the animated series, but I was excited for the potential from a new Godzilla series in Hollywood. As a 10-year-old little dude in 1998, that was the coolest thing. Who knows where we'd be today if we'd got that? Acknowledging that all these iterations are valid interpretations of the iconic monster, even if not personal favorites, underscores the beauty of the character's versatility. We all like different things, and it's essential to recognize that some fans genuinely love Godzilla 98, even though it's not universally embraced. Moreover, the animated series that spawned from 98 has a big fan base, and it wouldn't exist if it weren't for that movie. This diversity of appreciation highlights how Godzilla can be a captivating and inclusive character, accommodating various tastes within its expansive fan community. So as we navigate the ever-evolving world of Godzilla, let's celebrate the diversity, appreciate the spectacle, and continue to offer constructive feedback. In doing so, we can ensure that the King of the Monsters roars for more generations to come. There has been too much negativity in the fanbase lately, from content creators who make analog horror for fun, being bullied for their storytelling ideas, or designers of the creatures in these Monsterverse films being sent horrible threats from some people over the new design of Godzilla that they personally didn't like. What? This is not okay. This is not constructive. This makes us all look bad. Don't be this kind of person. We should be lifting each other up. as we all love this franchise in our own unique ways. Each person is brought together by this one gigantic icon, and that's awesome. I love my serious Godzilla films. They're my favorite, but I also grew up with the Showa films, and I know so many others who did as well. Both tones possibly can exist within the same movie too, depending on who is creating the project. There has never been a time like this. It is just amazing. Both can exist at the same time. One of the best things about the Monsterverse and Toho making things at the same time is that we're getting a little bit of everything that makes Godzilla great all at once. There are multiple flavors of Godzilla, and that's what's so great about it. It's like having a 5-course meal with your favorite kind of dessert immediately after. It's delicious. I've got to admit, I have not had a lot of fun in the fanbase lately, and that sucks. This is all supposed to be fun, but the constant discourse and fighting between everybody, it just doesn't make it entertaining to log in and talk about this stuff. I'm making this video as an opinion piece, so none of this is actual fact. This is all just how I feel about it. And I believe I'm not alone in these sentiments. Maybe some self-reflection is necessary. If you're constantly arguing or fighting with someone online about unimportant details in this Godzilla franchise that's supposed to be fun or serious, depending on the entry, maybe it's time for you to log off for a while and put your energy towards more productive things. Don't just go fight with people. The arguing doesn't add anything constructive. We just got a discussion between Takashi Yamazaki and Adam Wingard, director of -1 and Godzilla Kong: The New Empire. Both of them praising each other's work and saying that you understand the franchise and the wide variety of tones that this character can live in. So when I asked the question earlier, can Godzilla be silly, or does he only work when he's portrayed as a serious, dark role? If Takashi Yamazaki, the director of the darkest Godzilla movie, says that Godzilla can be silly, I think we should listen to him. Just remember, it's perfectly fine to have different opinions. We don't have to fight about it all. Let's keep discussions respectful. Tell me what you think about the current state of the Godzilla fandom and where the franchise is going from here. Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching this long discussion that I've been kind of working on for a little while now. I was trying to get this out in December of 2023 when the first Godzilla Kong trailer came out, when the discourse just started happening, but then my car got stolen, and then I just kind of put this one on the back burner for a little bit while I worked on smaller projects. Since then, there was a lot of discourse that went on, so it gave me a lot more to talk about, and I hope you enjoyed this. While working on this video, I also reached 1,000 subscribers, and that is an achievement I did not think possible when I started this channel in 2020. This was just something for me to play with my toys and make funny videos of my cat sitting around, and I swear, he just sits like that all the time. It happens every day, multiple times a day. He's just weird. But so many of you have enjoyed it. My video discussions, my movie reviews, sharing footage of monster suits, and all this fun stuff that I've been able to do because of this channel. Thanks to this channel, I've had many opportunities come my way, like a full-time job at Bandai, which is an experience I am incredibly grateful for, and I can't believe I had something like that come my way because of the stuff that I make on this channel. Thank you so much to all of you who support my artwork and my toy photography. It's what I do at full time. To celebrate my 1,000 subscribers, I'm going to do a live stream. I haven't figured out the exact details and time just yet, but when I do, I will announce them and schedule them on the channel here, so subscribe if you'd like to keep up with that. I've also got a little video coming out for this little guy that I recently got from the Godzilla store. It's a little Meyer Goji 1999. Not one of my favorite designs, but this I couldn't pass up because of the color scheme, so I'm going to make a little fun video on that. Any support you give means a lot to me, and if you want to support this channel in other ways, I now have a link with Super 7 where you can buy the reaction figures like these little guys here, like this glow-in-the-dark Jaguar. The most awesome one is the skeleton Godzilla with the oxygen destroyer. He's one that I can't even take out of the packaging. I've debated, but I haven't been able to get him out yet, but I might take him out for some photos and put him back in. But these guys are great, and I love them so much. If you want to get into these reaction figures or the Ultimates or any of the apparel Super 7 has on their website, you can now use my link that's in the description to help support this channel and pick up some figures to add to your collection. And there's no extra charge to anything there as well. You're just actually helping out the channel by purchasing from there. Got a lot of other really cool videos coming, especially for the Alien series. I'm going to start shifting my gears towards that to celebrate Alien Romulus. But really, thank you so much for all of you who have supported this channel. It means the world to me. I don't think this was something I would ever really imagine that I would be able to make any money from it. Now I'm making a couple cents per video, and that's so cool, and it only goes up from here. So I am just beyond grateful and thankful for all of you, for all the support you've given me, and I promise I've got a lot more awesome things coming. Thank you so much for watching Mike's Monsters, and have a great rest of your day. Bye.